Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Before we go much further, we're going to go to item C, Committee of the Whole, item 10A, 10B. Yes. Here.
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 Yes.
Here.
No, he's not.
Okay, item 10A is to accept the resignation of Mr. Justin Kirkwood as board member effective April 5th, 2023. So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McGee, second by Ms. Ensko. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes, abstentions, all in favor? Aye. We'll go to item B. Oh, that motion carries. We'll go to item B is to appoint Mr. Alan Carlson to fill the school board member vacancy created by Mr. Kirkwood's resignation effective April 12th, 2023 through December 5th, 2023 until the reorganization meeting. Second. Motion by Mr. Coots, second by Mr. McGee. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes, abstentions, all in favor? All right. Motion carries. So, Mr. Carlson.
Mr. Carlson. If you swear the oath, if you raise your right hand. I, Alan Carlson, I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Congratulations, Carlson. Welcome back. Here. Cheryl Benson from my
Okay, well, welcome back, Mr. Carlson. Good luck understanding the new agenda. It's nothing like what you left, so. I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. This is our last Wednesday was our work session meeting where we discussed all these motions. So the night's meeting will go pretty quick. It's mostly just voting. We've had a week to discuss it and have any discussion on it. We would like to recognize Mrs. Record. Mrs. Columbus, will you please take our pride and promises?
Yes, it is an honor to be a Juliet and Samantha Henderson Restart, our pride and promise. If it's okay, I'd love to read the email that was sent to me. I received an email on February 28th from Sharon Polk. Good morning. I just want to drop a short message. I met two of your students here in Florida. Their parents, the girls, and I were all invited to be part of Woody Hoberg's VIP team. Woody is an astronaut headed up to the International Space Station. Even though the launch was scrapped in the last 2 minutes the other night, I'm hoping the girls are still here to see the next attempt, but I would understand if their parents took them home. This experience has been the most educational thing I've done in my life, and I've been teaching advanced math for decades at North Allegheny. What these kids have been able to see has to be absolutely overwhelming for them. NASA has been treating all of us like royalty, and since I wasn't able to let my own kids come to this, watching these girls mingle with astronauts and other adults has been fabulous and fun for me. You should be so proud of your role in forming these young women. Permitting them to miss school for this event, just such a good call. Sharon Holt, AP Calculus, and Linear Algebra teacher from North Carolina.
Oh, very nice. Did you get to see it go off finally, or? Oh, I don't blame you, I don't blame you, but that had to be a great experience.
So tell us a little bit about your experiences down there. What did you take away?
So it was the end of February that we went down there, and we got to meet Woody for the first time. Jill and I had never met Woody before. I know mom and dad obviously know him too well from his dad in school. And it was just definitely one of the coolest things like I've ever done together with my dad. So I think they're actually leaving this planet and going to space. Like that is pretty cool. It's something I'll never forget. Like that moment sitting there early in the morning. And it was a disappointment, but still to go home and watch on TV, I think it was the coolest thing I'll ever.
And if we can
He's up there right now.
rewind a little bit further, obviously, mom and dad know him through skydiving school. We can't gloss over that.
So Jeff and I used to skydiving school for Grove City, and he was one of our students. He was 18 when he came to us, and he was a little nose test, and he was doing rocket launches and going to events to let off rockets. And you know, when we first met him and started to learn to skydive with us, we said to him, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And he said he wants to be a rocket scientist and an astronaut. And we're, "Oh yeah, Woody, everybody wants to be an astronaut."
Not a professional football player, right?
Yeah, no, we used to, I mean, we were terrible with him. He was really mean. I'm sure enough.
Well,
Ladies, any other takeaways from that experience?
I just think an incredible guy. A person to look up to. I mean, he's so humble. Yeah, I just how to describe him.
I heard they were mean to him when he was young.
Yeah, just such a cool guy. Great experience. I was really happy with that.
It was very humbling that the people that he chose to be there was for myself and my husband, and then for that the children to come. He was only allowed a certain number of guests, he was about 50 guests, and we were one of the chosen people to go, and he stood in front of us when we were allowed to meet and greet, and said, the reason that all of you are stood here is because you have been so instrumental in my life, and I would not be doing this unless you guys have got me to this point. And so Jeff and I just really skydiving instructors compared to his MIT teacher. And all the things he's done, and it was very humbling.
wow.
We have a little certificate for you, and then I believe we're gonna take a picture in the lobby, right? Congratulations. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Okay. Item 3, any reports from standing committees of the board?
I think it'd be appropriate to interject here that the Building and Grounds Committee, we were gonna act on their recommendation to the
Right. Yeah, do we want to address that now, or when we get to that?
I think you can address it in the item, but as far as, just denoting that we had a committee meeting.
Right, and we met with 3 different companies over the roof, where the committee's recommending Garland. Their price was just slightly above, not much, but with that, we get Slippery Rock Roofing, who is local. They've done a lot of our work over the years. I mean, they're local, they pay taxes, and they do good work. You ever have any problems, they're right up here. And, you know, with this being in their backyard, they're not gonna do any shoddy work, I wouldn't think. We've had really good luck with them in the past, so that's who we're going with. There was a few concerns over the use of the insulation. I talked to them, and by code, everything's good. The one thing, you know, they're adding 1.5 inches to bring us up to code, which is R30. Well, R30 might be code in commercial. In my world, residential is R40. So I did ask him, I said, if we wanted to take it from, right now we have an R24. This is what we're adding on will take us to an R30. I guess, well, what would it take to get us to an R38? He said, well, that's another additional $80,000. So I think for tonight, we should just stick with what we have. I was gonna try and run some numbers and see long-term whether it would be worth the cost savings. I mean, 80,000 is a lot of, you know. But then again, the warranty's 32 years. So in 15, 20 years from now, you might look back and say, boy, I wish I had the extra R value. But right now, I don't know that you could justify it, but just something to think about in the meantime. Any questions on that?
I mean, the grant that the federal government's working on, I mean, with that,
I don't know. I was looking that up last night because, you know, the government's giving away all kinds of money for energy savings.
right,
Mostly it's if you want to load your roof up with solar panels. Extra insulation, I haven't really found anything yet, but I'm still kind of looking. You know, that would be the only thing that would maybe motivate you to spend the extra money. Because, you know, we're still putting a 34-year roof on a building that we have a budget to run for 9 years.
right. I was just curious because the way they wrote it, it said efficiency, and like you were saying, there is cost savings. That's
Right.
should fall under efficiency.
You would think so. So before next month, I'll look. And they said that price was good for 30 days, but, you know, at least we're locked in on what we are figured on because the materials are hard to get. So, you know, and the timeline they gave us was extremely good too, which kind of nice, so. If there's any questions?
Hey, I'm just gonna throw something out there because Tim made me think about, there is a lot of square footage up there. Have we ever looked into solar panels?
We could.
I'm just throwing it out there. It just, there's a lot of room up there. I don't know if it would ever pay for itself or not.
Well, I think to build off what Tim and you have said and Jim has said, so I think you can divide them up, right? So we need to fix the roof regardless. That's gonna be the $900,000. But if we can get some energy savings and some energy efficiency, then and it's eligible through the grant, I think that's when it'd be worthwhile to investigate that grant opportunity and then investigate the appropriateness and effectiveness of solar panels.
Right, yeah, with the grants that's coming out, it would be something to look at, anything else, Mike?
No, sorry if I repeated you there, Tim, but the other thing I heard out of that whole thing was solar panels and it just caught my attention, that's all.
Okay,
No, thank you. It's hard for me to hear on this, guys. I apologize.
I'll try and yell a little louder.
No problem.
Any comments or questions from the floor relative to agenda items? I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 8th regular meeting of the board.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McGee, second by Mr. Booth. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor?
All right.
Motion carries. Approval, item 7, approval of the treasurer's report and bill listings. Mr. Dix.
It is the recommendation of the superintendent to the board to approve the treasurer's report for the PNC general fund as of March 31st, 2023, as outlined below. Balance as of February 28th of 23, $1,586,678.06. Receipts during March of 23, $2,230,176.66. Expenditures during March 2023, $2,213,479.95. And then the balance as of March 31st of 2023, $1,603,374.77. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dix, second by Mrs. Ensko. Any negative votes? Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Investment report. It is the recommendation of the superintendent to the board to approve the attached investment report for March of 2023. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Dix, second by Mr. Kuth. Any discussion on the motion? Negative votes? Abstentions? Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
8, approval of bill listings. A, list of general fund payments. It is the recommendation of the superintendent to the board to approve general fund bill listings for April 12th, 2023, in the amount of $61,113.41, and payments made manually in the month of March 2023 in the amount of $1,448,050.06, for a total of $1,509,163.47. And then I'm also gonna jump to B, list, of food service fund payments. It is the recommendation of the superintendent to the board to approve the food service fund bill listing for April 12th of 2023 in the amount of $174,811.52. I'd like to put those two items in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dix, second by Mr. McGee. Any discussion on motions A or B? Any negative votes, abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motions carry. Item 9, personnel.
I want to put into a form of a motion, items A through H under personnel. This would be our retirements and resignations, our employment, open positions for cafeteria, cheer coach, coaches, I should say, and summer help. And then the volunteer non-instructional substitute listing. I'd like to put those in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. McGee, a second by Mr. Kuth. Motions, A through H. Any discussion on any of the motions? Any negative votes? Abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motions carry. Item 10, committee of the whole. We will move into C. Which is the, spring athletics. D, textbook book approval. E, the Midwestern Intermediate Unit agreement. F, capable kids agreement. G, Squaresville Christian Transportation Agreement. H, Newcastle School of Trades Welding Agreement. I is the Nutrition Incorporated renewal. J is the Trivia Club dissolution. K, student teacher. L, disposal of assets. M is the medical trust rates. N, approval of field trips. O, well, let's go to N. Item C through N.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McGee, second by Mr. Dix. Any discussions on any of the motions? Any Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And item O is the middle high school roof project. Award replacement of the 1997 sections of the middle school roof to Garland Roofing at the cost of $895,931. Project is expected to be completed prior to August 24th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McGee, second by Mr. Dix. Any discussion on the motion?
You said that's Slippery Rock Roofing Company?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
them down here.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 11, any new business come before the board? Any comments, questions from the board relative to non-agenda items?
With, retirement, hopefully we will be getting, well, we are gonna replace them, correct?
So here's what we do, we process. We always look at, the scheduling demand, okay? And we don't assume attrition and we don't assume replacement. I will tell you that it's the intent, to post and advertise immediately for not only a math teacher, preference with AP experience, but also for an art teacher. For example, okay, we have one high school art teacher, okay? But we've made a commitment to the board that the admin, they'll make a recommendation, okay? But it's gotta be data-based, right? So one of the things that the secondary admin and myself have already looked at is Mr. Rogers' schedule for next year, right? Who's signing up for what, how many classes? I will tell you that we looked at things on the board, things off the board, but it is the intent of the admin to recommend to the board to replace that position. Ultimately, in honor of Mr. Hammerschmidt's absence, he often tells me I need 5 friends because I don't get a vote. So that'll be the recommendation to this board, and then they'll make the ultimate budgetary decision. But as of right now, there's going to be posting and advertising for those. I assume those are the 2 positions you're referencing.
And when you interview them, will you be asking them, or are they going to be dedicated to our children at Laurel in outside activities? We're going to need an NHS because Mr. Rogers is NHS.
So as you well know, you know, when you interview teacher candidates, they're gonna move the sun, the moon, and the stars, okay? But, what I can tell you is, first of all, we're gonna go through a 3-layer interview process, okay? The first round of interviews are going to be with, building level administration. The second round of interviews will be teaching interviews with kids and building administration. The third round of interviews will be the personnel committee. This is how we do, this has been the evolution of our interview process of good questions, okay? And through the course of those interview questions, of course, we ask for their other talents. And for example, I think that Mrs. Skirvitz and Mr. Rogers over the last couple of years have upped the ante with National Honor Society, quite frankly, as it should be, and I fully support those efforts. So, and you know, we don't know how much longer Mrs. Skirvitz is going to be here as well. So it'd be nice to have some newer blood in there to help our already strong and existing teachers. I'll tell you, when we also, I don't know how much you want to know, but I'll wrap this up quickly because this is the last item, right? But we do look at the number of teachers per core department, okay? Same way that we look at the number of teachers per grade level, all right? Now, there are some anomalies. If you have 7-12 math, you have 7-12 math, right? You might have an expertise in a given area, high school, middle school, what have you. Sciences are dictated by certification, biology can do certain things, chemistry can do certain things, physics can do certain things. And I also will remind the board that you've already absorbed one math position since I've been here. With the passing of Mr. Levish, we did not replace that math position. So I have not articulated the argument before yet, but as a preview, these are the things we will discuss.
And we do always ask them if there's anything else they would be interested in doing. And they always promise, every one of them will promise you anything. And a lot of them do it until they get tenure. And then you find out where the true believers are, you know, so.
And also if they're in proximity to the community, right?
Right.
They're within 15 minutes of the high school, it's not a bad deal staying after school, younger kids, all that good stuff.
The one thing I did have,
We're gonna have girls basketball coach opening.
It's posted.
I think it's posted till the 28th.
Mhm.
We're hoping to have the interviews done and hired for the May meeting. We gotta get rolling on that, so.
and I am kind of curious as to what, I know we weren't planning on replacing Mrs. Kelly for school physicals. I have had a few parents call me and say, you know, it's a bad idea. So I was just curious, I didn't know what it cost us. I told them I
So
would.
here's a couple of things. Well, we don't have to do school physicals cattle, but we are going to need some type of school doctor to give the nurse orders, right? So, I talked with Mrs. Columbus and Mr. Lape about that today. I also talked to Mrs. Conrad about that today, and I want to see if somebody has, done that recently. Now, for example, and actually it's a payment per physical, somewhere in the neighborhood, I believe, of like $5 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but in any event, I want to see if there is a, template on a posting and an advertising with appropriate compensation recently from a neighboring school. But just from a pragmatic standpoint and communication with our certified school nurse, we are going to need a doctor of record. And I would encourage Esquire to, you know, bring us up to legal speed on the doctor issue, in order for our nurse to have appropriate orders.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm looking at is, I don't want to hurt in our programs, because there are kids that their parents just aren't going to get them to urgent care to get a physical. And how many of them kids are you going to, you know, lose, or, you know, that's what.
And I agree with that. And also, you know, I don't know if doctors today are going to want to do the cattle call. So it's a give and a take. What we want and what we might get as an offer might not match. So I would encourage that for now. They're well informed for now. We will keep their concern, as guidance as we move forward here, but everyone got a little bit of homework. So they're going to have some communication with the school nurse. Esquire's going to bring us up to speed. Jen's going to look for different posting, and I'm just going to sit around and wait for everybody to get the work done. And I'll give you recommendations.
Question, so is the school paying like $5 a person, or the kids pay that? I mean, honestly, I'd rather give my kid $5 than send them here to get it done. It's a lot easier, if that's what it is, and I don't know if other parents, yeah, it's hard when you're working to get your kids to a physical appointment.
My concern is what doctor is going to sign a new contract in today's day and age to do that for like $5.
Well, maybe somebody from the community who, I don't know, you know, it might be a parent, you know, in the community.
Or you could even look into nurse practitioner.
So that's something that we looked at. Are there other things that we can do? Can a doctor, doctor nurse practitioner, can they give a certified school nurse the orders that we need necessary? See these
Well,
questions,
right.
Esquire?
As long as
Nicole
they're
and I
okay.
talked about
Yeah.
that, so I'm gonna look into that.
Because even a nurse practitioner has to have a doctor sign off
Right.
on them.
Right, they work under the doctor's license.
So the doctor
Oh.
would still be legally liable.
Or are we talking like?
No, like for
kindergarten?
example, in order for our nurse to administer, not prescription medications, but to administer even OTCs, she needs to be under a doctor's order. Or doctor's hospital. Am I describing that
Right.
accurately? What's the language?
Right, under a nurse's license, you have to have an authority giving you the orders, whether it's Tylenol, whether it's Motrin. You can't just prescribe that on your own. So,
Okay.
In addition to the athletic physicals, let's not forget that the junior year, there's mandatory physicals and there's another year. There you go. So, you know, sports is one issue, but carrying on our fundamental mission is another issue.
I think I just need to.
Correct, yeah.
Mhm.
Mr. Rich and Mr. Red, I don't want to speak out of terms. Then my assumption, Dr. Kelly will be here through the end of June,
Yeah,
and we can give sports physicals, if it's approved, one more time, because a student can get it after June 1st and be eligible for the next school year. So
if the doctor's willing to do
if
that.
she's willing to, yeah, if she's willing to do that, we could at least get through the next 23-24 school year by offering them sometime in June. We can set that up.
Okay. Anything else this evening? Yeah.
We could probably, put some more powerful microphones moving forward for the 23-24 school year. You know, all we use right now is the phone, but we can get some auxiliary equipment.
Yeah, when I'm on the road, the best thing I do is I'll call in here and mute my laptop and then use this, because you can hear better on the dial-in number.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll look into that.
It's a nice feature to have, if you can't make it here.
But
It's hard to, like, unfortunately, like, your paper sitting there, Jim, whoever's sitting by the phone, that's what we hear, is the shuffling of the papers.
Good thing you
It's
don't
hard
hear
to hear over.
what Justin said.
But
Good thing you never heard what Justin said.
And that's why we keep it down here.
Well, it's good to get feedback, because
No, it's
I
good
don't sit
feedback.
in the audience, so I would, with that, do I have the motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Come on.
Second. Dave, I was
Motion by
like.
Mr.
I already had my-
By Ms. Astro.
You're-
Quota for the night.
Any
That's my
negative
quota.
votes?
I'm good.
The meeting is adjourned.